Welcome back to the Office Marketing Podcast with Mike Swigert, the podcast all about sales tips, mindset, and value bombs. 5 questions to help make your day more productive and learn a thing or two. Here is your host, best-selling author, Mike Swigert.
Hey, everybody. I am here with a good friend, Kevin Gray. Kevin comes to us from Florida. He runs business development for First Class Moving Systems out of Tampa. He's actually running the office out of Fort Lauderdale. Kevin has awesome background experience with Sudeth, a very large steel case dealer here in Atlanta. Now he's spending time on the golf course. No, spending time with clients, just bringing great value to people with their moving needs down there in South Florida. So Kevin, thank you for taking the time to be with us today.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Well, hey, Kevin, why don't we just jump right into this? How did you get into this crazy world? Because you've been at some really great places. I mean, I'm really impressed with what Sudeth has done and even what DeKalb, the steelcase dealer here in town, has done. Why would you want to be in this crazy business? Talk to us.
Just all by accident, man. Not even kidding. It's funny, when I was in college, I was studying business. And when you're in college, you got friends moving like every semester, whether it's a dorm or an apartment or something, and you always got to help them out. And the standard currency of payment is, pizza and a 6-pack or something like that. So, and it's miserable, right? Moving stinks, right? It's brutal work. It's frustrating. You always break something or, end up injuring yourself. Right?
Okay, please qualify that we're still just talking about your college buddies and not our professional experience, right? You're right, Kev, right? Yeah.
That's correct. This was strictly my college experience.
Okay, good. Yeah.
And, and we would, I remember just realizing how awful it was, doing that in the summer in the Florida heat and stuff. And I'd be like, man, I could never work for a moving company. This is so brutal. And then in business school, it was, what am I going to do with my life after this? And it seems like everything was on the table except for sales. So I just said I could never do sales. It just seemed too stressful, too hectic. I don't want to do that. And now I do sales for a moving company. So it's funny how it works out.
Okay. So if you're just listening, Kevin was literally born to sell, and you pick it up in the first 30 seconds of knowing him. You're like, oh, this guy is always, high level of empathy, always thinking about solutions. Like, Kevin, I'm a huge fan of yours. So like, it's great that you're here. I just hope people today can kind of get it. So why don't we do that with your sales experience, right?
Yeah.
Talk to us about like going through the sales process. Someone that's getting ready to move, what would they, what should they be looking for?
Sure. Yeah. You obviously, I always tell people it's a lot more complex than moving stuff from point A to point B, right? Obviously that's, it's not hard to realize that's the point, but when it comes to office moving and commercial moving, you got to worry about taking care of the building, taking care of the product that's being moved, because you could get the cheapest price in the world. You could get, the quickest response of an available crew that's like, yeah, we'll do it. But then if they damage your building and ruin your stuff, what's the point behind all that? So I think the biggest things people need to look for is the quality of the partner that they choose. And, we're not First Class we're not just picking up strangers from, a Home Depot parking lot and saying, hey, can you come help us out today? And we got background checked guys. We got guys that have been doing this for decades, that are experienced and have seen it all. And we take a lot of pride in that and delivering that first class experience, as cliche as that sounds.
Hey, one thing I do like about it is that it's probably about a month ago, you posted on social and you saw the wall protection that your team had put up. Mm-hmm. And I'm with you 100%. As being like a creative and a sales guy, I love being around people that are like, that love the lines of the wall protection and floor protection.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why. I get giddy knowing that there's people like that on my team. You know, I'm like,
Yeah.
that's great. Because me, I'm more like your college buddy. I'm like, come on, let's just get it in. You know, let's go.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's fun.
Exactly.
It's fun having people around you that do that. And by the way, that's exactly why I have an amazing accountant. That's exactly why I have a great COO. I mean, I love that. I surround myself with people like that all the time too, brother. So, all right, little something about you, Kevin. What's something that not everybody knows about Kevin Gray?
Man, this is pretty random. I was a college athlete as well as a college mascot. That's the fun fact that I like to share. So my freshman year, I played football at a D2 school in North Carolina called Wingate, and had a back injury after a year, called it quits. And I transferred in state to University of West Florida in Pensacola. And a kid that was a few years older than me, who I became good friends with, he was the mascot at the time, and he was graduating, and he said, "Hey man, they're looking for someone to take this over. What do you think?" And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" And he's like, "Yeah, it actually pays and stuff. It's a lot of fun." And I was like, "Well, I need a job, and why not?" And,
okay, what's West Florida? I don't know what their mascot is. What West
sure.
Florida? What are they?
The Argonauts. So it's like it's kind of like it's like a sea voyager essentially, but the costume was like a gladiator looking guy. Had a little sword and shield. It was not the worst mascot to be, and they had like these huge inflated muscles on them. So it was definitely not a depiction of who I really am. but yeah, man, it was fun.
That's awesome. You know, I hadn't thought about this in forever. I had a friend, I went to Auburn, and Albie is sort of like a really beloved mascot. You know, he's just this sweet little tiger, unless you go to Georgia or Alabama, that he's not so beloved, but he's really sweet. But I had this great friend who did Navy ROTC, and he was going to the Marines to do demolition. And if he's listening, and it was Mike Jernigan, but Mike did this amazing, great athlete. He stood up on top of the box where the cheerleaders stand to, lead cheers during the game.
Yep.
Stood on there, did a backflip over the hedges, landed probably a 5-foot drop in the grass below him. And I was like, that was because, and the feet, if you're listening, Albie feet are like 2 feet long. So here's just an insane athlete. So when I think mascots, I think pretty awesome, just pretty impressive.
I was nowhere near that level of athleticism. So I spent most of the games, because this was before they had a football team. They actually got a football team a few years ago, and they're just dominating. They've been to the D2 national title, I think, twice in like 3 or 4 years already. I mean, great program. But prior to that, it was just basketball, volleyball, baseball, soccer, swimming. So I would just kind of walk around and mingle with the fans and just hang out, and it got the job done. So
that's awesome. I would have so much fun doing that. I really would. You and I talked beforehand, and I really wanted to kind of bring this question up on the podcast though. Like, all right, so real quick, just kind of let people know a little bit about you. You live in Florida. There's somewhere around 17 million golf courses in the state of Florida. You get to pick your foursome. Who are you playing with?
Oh man, you got to have Tiger, right?
Sure.
That's just like, yeah. I just think that's, you got to have him. I'm originally from Boston. So my father raised us a Boston sports family. So Tom Brady, you got to go with him. And then from there, I got to go with Jerry Seinfeld. Big Seinfeld fan. Yeah.
I think that group would get along. I think you did good, Kevin. I think that would be a fun group.
I'm thinking ahead. Now this is where the group might not get along. Is I got to have Dave Portnoy of Barstool Sports, and he's a great guy, but he's a little bit of a smart aleck, so he might ruffle feathers.
Yeah, he'd just come out. Hey guys, just one shot. You know the rules. Just one putt. You know the rules. One putt. Stevie. This is amazing. I love El Prez. He's just fantastic. I also am a big fan of comedians in cars getting coffee with Jerry Seinfeld. You watch that?
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. All right, let's stay back on the podcast. I know you and I can let's go back into.
We'll be here. We'll be here all day, man.
I know. Let's give me back into.
This episode of the Office Marketing Podcast is brought to you by Fusion Advisory. We help commercial contractors generate leads online profitably. Check us out at fusion-advisory.com.
Talk about mindset. That's a really important right now. And I'm really I ask everybody this question really because it's important to me. Mindset is so important. How do we keep it positive? It's so cliche to say, but we could say, what do you do to keep your energy positive? What do you do to stay positive? What's your secret, Kevin?
Yeah, man. It's not a huge secret, man. I grew up going to church and, have continued a relationship with Jesus, man. So a lot of praying, a lot of Bible reading, try to in the mornings at least. I got a great church and group of guys that I meet with on a weekly basis in Fort Lauderdale as well. So, man, that's huge for me, just because just puts my heart and my mind at ease. And you know how it is with sales. It can be the best week of your life or the worst week of your life in a matter of seconds. So it's been really helpful to lean on that for me. Other than that, man, I got a great group of mentors, including my parents, but just professionally who I've met throughout my career and just growing up, who I still talk to frequently. I love surrounding myself with older people who are more experienced, not just in the workforce, but in life. I love just kind of soaking up their wisdom and their advice and things like that, and seeing how I can apply it to my own growth. Other than that, just working out, trying to stay active and stuff like that, because it just helps you kind of decompress and relax. So yeah, it's been I agree with you. It's so important, because you could you could have the best sales year of your life going on, but if your mind's not right and you're not at peace with yourself and with life and your relationships, then what's the point? So
that's powerful. I was having this conversation. I had lunch with a dear friend a couple weeks ago, and we were talking. He wasn't a terribly faith-based person, but he said that he really loved prayer and he just thought it was so powerful. And a lot of people are calling, a lot of people meditate, right? And whether it's called meditation or prayer, or you're talking to God or Allah, or you're reaching out to, just wisdom of previous generations, just looking for gratitude. Do you know what I mean? The power of saying, like, even if you're just literally saying, I want to thank Mother Nature for this beautiful tree. I want to, like, allowing gratitude to come into your vessel is so powerful. And maybe up there, God is going like, I don't care who you're talking to, brother. Just, you know what? Just allow gratitude to flow through you and great things happen. And I think that's a good thing for 2021.
Absolutely.
Let's go into advice then. What's a good piece of advice you could share with everybody?
Man, I was thinking about this one, and it wasn't so much advice as it was a necessary jab from the old man when I was younger. This is funny. I told you earlier, I'm actually in the house I grew up in right now. I'm visiting I'm seeing a client here in the Jacksonville area. So I'm just staying with my parents for a couple of days and then headed back to Fort Lauderdale. But when I was like 14, I was looking for a job. I was looking to find my first job and, make some extra money. And, it's hard to get a job when you're 14. Not a lot of people are hiring. And at that age, but there's one of the 17,000 golf courses. One of them's a little par 3 course, like probably a half mile down the street, that I used to play at growing up. And I just stopped by there and I just asked the guy, I'm like, hey, do you have any need for any help? I'm just looking to make a few dollars. And he said, yeah, why don't you come by, this Saturday at 6 a.m. and we'll talk about maybe how you can help us and stuff. And this is pretty funny because my dad's getting his coffee in the kitchen right now, so you might hear him giggling when I tell this story. He claims he doesn't remember it. But I so Saturday rolled around and I slept in till like 1 p.m. Like a typical freshman.
Yeah,
I know. And he follows up with me and he says, my dad says, so how'd that meeting with the golf course go? And I said, I didn't go. It was too early. I felt like sleeping.
Okay. So where's the advice, Kevin? Land the plane. What do you got?
It's coming. So he, I was playing football at the time and he goes, you talk about kids that you play football with that are soft and, that are afraid of getting hit and stuff. And he looks at me and he goes, you're soft. And I was just like, oh my gosh, he's right.
Yeah.
And, I come from that instant gratification generation where, I have a lot of friends whose parents didn't say stuff like that to them. And I know he meant it out of love. And I will never forget that because it just, that was kind of a great reminder for me as far as not being afraid to work hard and not being, it's getting up at 6 to go to a meeting. Like, come on, I can't sleep in past, 6:30 now.
Oh gosh, no, not an option. Well, the stakes are a little bit higher,
Yeah.
You had plenty of other opportunities. It sucks. I'm glad your dad called you out on it. I really am. I like your dad a lot. So he sounds like a great dad. So, hey, you wouldn't turn out the way you are right now if it wasn't for him. So when we finish this podcast, I want you to get up, go give your dad a hug and just say like, I'm glad you're in my life. And you know what, Dad, you're kind of soft.
No,
hey,
man.
Kevin,
I got it.
Yeah. Hey, let me know, like, how would somebody get in touch with you? If somebody wanted to connect with you, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Man, I'm all over LinkedIn. It's easy to find me on here. I know you and I will both post this on there, and obviously email and cell phone, but that's all. I'm not going to go through every line of contact right here, but LinkedIn I'm usually on every day, so that's it's a pretty easy way to reach me.
All right, Kevin, great. And I'll put your LinkedIn connection in the show notes. And seriously, Kevin, thanks for your tips. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for sharing your positivity, your energy, and just keep being awesome, man. Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the Office Marketing Podcast. Be sure to join the conversation on our YouTube channel, LinkedIn, and Facebook pages. If you enjoyed the episode, head over to iTunes to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.